Hi there, Duncan from Nature Connection Guide. Thanks for clicking in. In this video, I'd like to show you and walk through with you what to expect on a forest bathing walk. Now, I'm going to safely assume that you already know what forest bathing is. Otherwise, you wouldn't already be clicking on this video. But in the future, I can do one about what is forest bathing. But there's tons of literature out there already to get you informed on that. So, what to expect on a forest bathing walk? What's it going to be like? Well, I'll explain to you. Now, you can go forest bathing alone. You can also do forest bathing with a guide. So, with a guide, you will expect 5 things. All the guides that are certified through the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, ANFT, have gone through a rigorous training, and we all have learned a specific way to conduct a forest bathing walk. So you could go to what's billed as a forest bathing walk that isn't conducted by an ANFT guide, and it could be something completely different than what I'm about to explain to you. So each one of these guides around the world all follow a standard sequence and add to them their own personalities and their own creativity. So what you will definitely find are, like I said, 5 things that we all follow. All right? So one thing that you will definitely expect and to find on a forest bathing walk is a certified guide who is knowledgeable about the plants and flora and fauna in the region, also the weather patterns in the local weather patterns, and knows how to keep you safe and will do everything they can to keep you comfortable. So you will find that a guide through ANFT has those qualities. So rest assured. Now, the second thing that you'll find on a forest bathing walk that all guides follow is they and us all offer a series of invitations. So what is an invitation? An invitation is an offering, or it's an invitation for you to engage in a particular sense to experience the forest and nature that you're in. So there are the 5 classical senses that you will most likely be invited to partake in. One invitation, for example, is called What's in Motion, and that is simply noticing as you're walking and sitting or being in the forest or whatever nature environment you're in, simply noticing the movement. And that's really it. It sounds very simple, and it is. So there are other invitations that engage the senses that are outside of the 5 classical senses. And that will depend on what your guide likes to do. So my recommendation is to research the guide and the organization that is facilitating the forest bathing walks, and see what their take is. See if they will be offering invitations that are beyond the classical 5 senses. For example, communicating with a tree or things like that. So it could be challenging for some people, or it can be very invigorating and exciting for other people. In Nature Connection Guide, we typically touch on the classical 5 senses, and occasionally we go beyond. So those are 2 things. The third thing that you'll find that is consistent throughout all ANFT guides is that you will be invited again to speak about your experience in a group setting. So you'll be offered the invitation say for example, what's in motion. You will then be invited to experience nature through that particular sense for a period of time. And then you'll be called back to the group where you have the opportunity to speak about your experience in a way of counsel, is what it's called. So this is a way for you to be heard, and also for you to hear what others went through during that period of time. And you will have a talking piece, and it will be passed around for you to speak about your experience, which is optional also. So, we are on 4. The fourth thing that you'll find that is standard throughout all ANFT guided walks is the tea ceremony. So you'll be invited to have a tea in the forest or nature setting, and you will then drink the tea if you would like. Everything, of course, is optional, and this tea is made up of wild-crafted herbs or plants in the region. So you could expect on a nature connection guide walk teas such as hemlock or sumac or burdock, any one of these teas, spice bush, and so you will then have the tea with a group. Okay, what's the last thing that is common throughout all ANFT guided walks? I'll tell you, it's the duration. So typically walks are 2 to 3 hours. Now this isn't to say that guides do walks that are beyond 2 and 3 hours. Some guides tip into 3 and plus hours, but typically it's 2 to 3 hours. At Nature Connection Guide, we land around 2.5 hours, 2.5 hour walks. This is a typical walk that you'll find, a group walk. So now that I've explained to you the 5 things that you will definitely find on an ANFT guided forest bathing walk, go ahead and check out the walks in your area. So if you're in Vermont, for example, check out our site, Nature Connection Guide. And if you are in a different part of the country or even a different part of the world, check out the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy website, where you'll find a guide locator, and I'll have that link in the show notes below, and also have other cool links for you to check out. So that's it. Thank you very much for clicking in, and I do want to say one more thing. Now, I mentioned in the last video that I got these really great books from Sounds True. This one is Healing Code of Nature, and then another one is the Biophilia Effect. All right, so both by the same author, and I've read these through, and they're excellent books. I also wanted to read to you just a passage here. Because frequent contact with nature has such a positive effect on human health, I think it's time for a change in perspective. Our immune system is not strengthened by substances from trees, but is rather weakened by the separation from these substances in the modern world. Spending time in nature, therefore, does not lead to more defense cells. Rather, it brings their number and activity back to a natural level. That's wonderful. That's a nice perspective shift. So in this book, there are a number of cool perspective shifts and points that he made. So I encourage you to check those out. I have the link below. I'm giving away these books to the newsletter subscribers that I have in a sweepstakes. So please subscribe to the newsletter where I email out about once a month information that you might find really, really interesting, including these videos. So thanks again. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. May the force be with you, and at the very least, carry in, carry out.